You will see on this slide we have four features. The first, on the top left, is the world population increasing by 2015. According to IMF and World Bank, it will reach nearly 10 billion. Again, at the top on the right-hand side, is the dark red and the pale red are the countries with most water scarcity. On the bottom left, you can see what is the effect of the climate change. Wildfires in the forests, drought, storm, and cyclones. The next slide is the yellow one is the fisheries, the fishing catches, which is stalling, hasn't reached a peak. It has reached a peak. Only aquaculture is growing. The next slide is the growth of the algae, which is in green at the top. Among the 10 seaweed producing countries, only one African is on the list, and it's Tanzania with 0.4%. Africa, we have 54 countries, 35 countries with coastal lines, which make a total of 40,000 kilometers, surrounded by 4 seas: Mediterranean Sea, Red Sea, Indian Ocean, and Atlantic Ocean. According to a UN study, the population of Africa will reach, today is about 1.4 billion. By 2050, it will reach 2.4 billion. Africa has the youngest population. Africa is the most vulnerable continent. Many countries in Africa are under poverty line. Africa has the most biodiverse region on Earth. What is seaweed? Seaweed is a plant which has no roots. It's in the ocean. We have over 10,000 species of seaweeds, which are green, brown, or red. Seaweeds have a lot of nutritional values. It is known as a superfood and the food of the future. It has protein, which is very essential for our livelihood, vitamins, fibers, minerals, omega-3 and omega-6, and other biochemical compounds. Seaweed development is a sustainable development. By the cultivation of seaweeds, it will be able to comply with 8 of the SDGs by United Nations. It will reduce poverty, hunger, promote good health and well-being, create more infrastructure, increase production, fight climate change, and promote life under the sea. The actual global market for seaweed will reach $92 billion by 2025. 2025. Seaweeds can be transformed into food, feed for animals, fertilizer, medicine and nutraceutics, cosmetic, textile, bioplastics, and biofuel. Seaweeds can be cultivated in land-based ponds, seawater ponds, but also done in a lagoon and offshore. Seaweeds create a lot of employment. As you can see, a list of employment from marine science researcher, marine biologist, restaurant chef, food technologists, and transformers. I just name a few. We have formed a company called SW Bioprocessors Limited, and we have obtained the approval as the first company in the transformation and cultivation of seaweeds in Mauritius by the Mauritius Research and Innovation Council. We won the best project for the blue economy, sponsored by MRIC and the French Embassy. Actually, we are working mainly on two seaweeds, Gracilaria and sea lettuce. No. Sorry. Well, sorry, this is not working. It's supposed to be to show you the life cycle of a sea lettuce. Sea lettuce, we have two ways of cultivating the seaweeds. First, either by fragmentation. The second, the most important, is by hatchery in a laboratory. And these, the spores that we get from the hatchery are then glued to a rope and put in the ponds or lagoon or high seas. This is a picture of experiment going on with the University of Mauritius, who is our collaborator. On the left, you will see that we have 9 aquariums in order to see what are the difference in salinity, in luminosity, and so on. This is a picture of our people harvesting the seaweeds in our lagoon. Because Mauritians don't have a seaweed consumption culture, we have embarked on a campaign to coach all the restaurant chefs how to prepare seaweeds, and we invited 3 guests from France, Brittany in France, to come and show them. We did that 4 consecutive days. These are some of the delicacies that were presented at the Chandani Hotel for the customers. These are the products that you will show as exhibit outside. And this is products that are being done, transformed by one of our collaborators. I recommend you, if you are interested with the seaweed, is to read this book by Vincent Domezel. He is a consultant, ocean consultant to the United Nations. The book is in French, but it is being translated into English, in English, and probably Chinese as well. This picture shows the multiplication of rows, and in that gospel, which is apparently is also today's teachings, Jesus said to his apostles, "Give them yourselves something to eat." Thank you. I'm sorry I have to do it very quickly because I understand that you are running short of time. If you have any question, I will try to reply.
Thank you very much for this beautiful presentation. I just want to know, I heard you say that the seaweed helps, combat climate change. So I want to know more about that, how that happens. And then the other question I wanted to ask is whether some of them are edible. But from what you showed now, I think that one has been taken.
Yes. Climate change, seaweeds, mangroves, and seagrasses play a dominant role in climate change because they are the ones who absorb carbon dioxide and sunlight to produce oxygen. Over 50% of the oxygen that we breathe come from seaweeds. So if we can plant more seaweeds and people eat more seaweeds, that means we will have to plant more seaweeds, and that will create a situation where the seaweeds will absorb more carbon dioxide. Thus, it can reduce the acidification of the ocean, which is very detrimental to our ocean, to the corals, and to the mollusks, and to the fishes. Seaweed is a main product that is consumed by all mollusks and sea creatures. So when seaweeds are affected, that means they will have less food to eat. So by promoting plantation of seaweeds, cultivation of seaweeds, we are giving them more feed. We are giving these sea creatures more feed. The second question is whether seaweeds are edible. Most of the seaweeds are edible, but not all of them taste very good. So in Mauritius, the University of Mauritius have already identified 10 edible seaweeds, and we are working on them. We will promoting 6 or 8 of these edible seaweeds. Seaweeds, as I have shown, contain a lot of nutritional values.
How do you trade? Do you sell or do you spread your products? Okay.
We are targeting mainly three sort of consumers. First of all is transforming into foodstuff, okay? And they are then sold to food transformers, like you will see later on at the outdoor. We collaborate with a restaurant which is using our seaweeds to make condiments like pickle, tapenade, pesto, seaweed tartar. The second, we are selling also to the restaurants and the hotels where they want to promote local products, not only local products, but nutritional products. And the third is we also reach other transformers. So we will be promoting, how do we say that? We will give opportunities to SMEs so that they can transform the seaweeds themselves, because seaweeds can be transformed into, for example, smoothie or anything. You will have the opportunity for lunch, a seaweed soup and a seaweed salad. And then you will tell me whether it's good or bad.
Okay, thank you. Then my request is this: since we don't have enough time to listen to you, can you kindly give us your PowerPoints?
Yes, I will.
Thank you very much. I want to ask two questions. One, in West Africa, we have this other weed covering the water we call water hyacinth. Do you have them here too? Is it
No,
part-
we don't. We don't.
Oh. Then while we were on the boat 2 or 3 days ago, we saw some black objects under the water. The drivers or whatever you call them told us they are called corals. Do corals belong to seaweed?
I didn't catch the last word. Coral?
Yeah, coral.
Corals and seaweeds?
Yeah.
Seaweed is like a plant, but it's not a plant. Seaweed, a plant has roots. Seaweed doesn't have roots. They have a whole force which cling to the rocks. You will see more seaweeds on the rocks, or they are floating, like what we have, which is a nuisance in other countries, but it's not in Mauritius, is sargassum, which proliferate in many countries in the world, especially the countries like in the Caribbean and so on, where it's a big nuisance. But now, scientists are working on it where this seaweed can be transformed into fertilizer and probably also into bioplastics. I think the hyacinth is not a seaweed, it's a seagrass. But seagrass is also as important because they also absorb carbon dioxide and sunlight.
Any use of it?
I don't know. I haven't come across it. We don't have it in Mauritius. You see, seaweed is the main food feed in the marine ecosystem and even for us humans. In fact, the first creature that through photosynthesis is a root of our civilization, I would say. Scientists have found that 3 to 4 billion years ago, the micro seaweed was formed to produce oxygen because they absorb carbon dioxide and sunlight.
Thank you for your presentation. As far as I understand, your production is on an artisanal basis, not industrial. This is what I understand. And secondly, what can be your role to spread this production in Africa, as we are part of Africa, and only 0.3% or 4% is in Tanzania. How can you develop this in Africa?
Thank you for your very interesting question. Seaweed is a good opportunity for Africa. As I said, we have 40,000 kilometers as a perimeter of Africa continent. And this can be developed because they can produce food and all the products that I have said. It will create livelihood. In Indonesia, where they create about 20 or more thousand people, especially women, working in seaweed cultivation. The same has happened to Zanzibar. In Zanzibar, which is part of Tanzania, Zanzibar, the third biggest exporter, export products is seaweed. And I don't know whether you've heard of a woman called Flower Shuma something like that, who has encouraged her citizens to work in the seaweeds, to plant the seaweeds, and these seaweeds are exported to other countries, European countries, which are then transformed into alginate, agar-agar, carrageenan. But our project in Mauritius is the first to do a vertically setup. That means we start with cultivation, then processing, then also selling into Mauritius and other regions of the world. As I said, this is a very big opportunity for Africa to join this revolution. It's going to be a silent revolution without weapons. We just need, maybe we will need to have an alliance in Africa so that we can exchange our ideas, our knowledge, and our skills to promote the cultivation and consumption of seaweeds, because seaweeds contain a lot of protein, and according to the United Nations, there will be a big gap of protein before 2050. Thank you.
So thank you a lot for your presentation, and I think your presentation enters in all what we are doing concerning ecology, how to promote ecology and ecological world. And we are happy now from, it's not only our brain who has received seaweed, but now our mouth, our stomach will receive seaweed.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So I will invite you. We have some samples of the products that we are producing in Mauritius. And at lunch, you will have a seaweed soup and a seaweed salad. Thank you.